friend Renee from Wisconsin refuses to be defeated by physical challenges. She can't kneel, bend over, or squat. And if she gets on the ground, she can't get herself up unless she crawls over to something and is able to pull herself up. Now today, Renee is going to take us on a tour of her World War III victory garden. This is totally cool.
Hi Prepper and Preppers, I'm Evelyn.
And I'm Kylene, and today my granddaughter and I are going to introduce Renee from Wisconsin to you. Now Renee is one of my heroes. She has some physical limitations. She can't bend over, kneel, or squat, and yet she has not let that stop her from growing her own World War III victory garden and being a little bit more food independent. She likes to use, well, when she designed the infrastructure, she used raised cinder block beds and straw bales and green stalk planters, which are her very favorite. But she wasn't able to put all this infrastructure in place by herself. She enlisted the help of her friends and neighbors to come and help her put them in place so that she could do more on her own.
Renee trades garden produce for eggs from her neighbors, and her sweet neighbors keep an eye out in case she gets stuck in our garden.
And isn't that what this is all about? Community working together so that we can do something spectacular. So Renee, now it's time to look at your garden.
My name's Renee. I live in Zone 4 in Wisconsin, and this is my victory garden. I am disabled, and this is proof that you can have a victory garden even if you have a disability. Almost everything I have is accessible from a chair or by standing. On this side I have straw bales. I had primarily potatoes and squash on them, but I had a problem with squash beetles this year and they ate most of them. But if you want to keep those. So, you know, it's trial and error, and it's trial and error. And then on this side I have tomatoes, my excess tomatoes, because I started too many this year, and strawberries and currants. I have tomatoes here as well. These tomatoes aren't doing as well because I didn't rotate them this year, so they ended up growing in the same place as they did last year, and I had some problems with disease. I have thornless blackberries in here. I have grapes, which are just taking off. They're a little chewed on. I've got Japanese beetles. More tomatoes. Some escapee buckwheat from my buckwheat. In the back are peppers. This tomato bed doesn't look as good because my dog jumped into it and ate as many tomatoes as he could and squished everything. And then I've got buckwheat and amaranth. Here, this is mostly for pollinators to attract them to my garden. Back here I've got an entire thing of chives, plus all the chives that are escaping from it, and then some sunflowers. Also these are for birds. One of the ways that we control pests in our garden is to attract as many birds as possible, and then they eat things while they're waiting to get to the food. Here I have all sorts of green stalks, and these are amazing because I can work on them sitting in a chair or I can work on them standing. All of my beds are raised beds, so I can sit on the edges, but these are just amazing. I've got strawberries in this one, carrots in this one. I've already pulled the radishes out. The squash in the very bottom didn't make it because of the squash beetles. Here I've got green beans, corn. I tried to do the Three Sisters, but the squash didn't make it on this one either. This one is mostly on the way out. This was from the spring garden, so the peas, it's too hot for the peas now and they're dying, but the kohlrabi are bulbing up and those will be ready soon. Here I've harvested most of this again. It's beets and turnips, so it's about time to replant it for a fall garden. And then these two here, the empty one is lettuce. That all bolted because it got too hot, so I pulled it. I'm going to be putting more in a bit. And then this is a greens and onions. I guess these are leeks on the top tower, and these did not like the hot weather either, so they'll be pulled and I'll replant as soon as it cools down a little bit. I did set up a cheap greenhouse, which I had to stake to the ground so the wind doesn't carry it away. In here I have vanilla orchids, I've got a tea plant, I've got a coffee plant, I've got sequoia trees just for fun. I've got a bay laurel that once it's big enough it'll go into the ground. And then I do all my seed starts inside, and then I harden them off out here before they hit the ground. And this is in the back of our property. On this wall along the garage, we have nothing but Nanking cherries. They don't get as big as other cherry bushes. They're difficult for me to pick, but I usually just lay on my back and roll along the ground and pick the berries. And then I use this neighbor's convenient fence to pull me up so that I can still, not get stranded in my garden and have to call for help. And then in the back of the property, we have 2 apple trees. We have a small nectarine tree that was just put in this year. You can see it here on the ground. And then we have 3 apricot trees, which are just coming ripe right now. My entire property is 0.19 acres. Most of it's taken up by the house, but we have made do with everything that we can.
Thank you, Renee, for sharing your amazing accomplishments with us. You are an inspiration to all of us.
And if any of you are interested in some of the green stock planters like what Renee is using, if you use the promo code PROVIDENT, you'll get 10% off any order of $75 or more, which every little bit helps. I'll leave a link in the description of this video. But Renee, we truly are so appreciative of you sharing all your wonderful accomplishments with us. That is awesome. And now for the question of the day. How is your World War III victory garden growing? What are some of your challenges, and what are you doing to conquer those challenges? Comment below. And thanks for being part of the solution.